Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Let me play my intro for you.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm the Housewife Historian, and we are here to talk the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm going to be talking a little bit in code today because if you watch my channel and you watch my live, yes.
Is the plane going down? Are we going to die? Why are you saying I'm sorry?
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. We are here discussing the Real Housewives of New Jersey because we got a new episode. I did a short video a few minutes ago about Margaret and Jennifer and their feud and the medical graphs getting brought up. So if you're interested in hearing any of that, head over to my other video. And then today, this one's going to be obviously on last night's episode. Okay, we have to talk New Jersey. We have a brand new episode last night. None of the blogs are going to skip over it. I don't care how tired everyone is of hearing about it. We saw it last night and now we got to talk about it. Let me make sure my mic is. Guys, I did a whole video live yesterday and it wasn't on, so I'm paranoid. All right, anyway, guys, last night we have this scene, Real Housewives of New Jersey. They kind of pick up where they left off. What was bothering me, number one, was why was there no place to sit at Margaret's house? I couldn't understand that. I'm like, why is everyone standing? Jennifer's got this fucking boot on. You know what I'm saying? She can't be comfortable. Like, why is there nothing set up? They're just arguing around this long table of food, right? I forgot to say, of course, everything in this video is alleged. Go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, turn your notifications on. Super important, please. I'm trying to grow my channel. Yeah, so let's get back into it. Anyways, we're going to get a third episode, Boys Will Be Boys. So last night's episode was about Teresa planning the wedding. And the next week's episode, it says, when drama at Danielle's mozzarella party eases after an unexpected olive branch from Teresa, all is seemingly fine until Louis and Joe go head to head. Teresa's daughters are upset after hearing something he must have said. It like cut off over here. Sorry, let me pull it up for you guys. The Boys Will Be Boys. Why did Bravo pick that title too? I feel like that's a weird title considering what people have been saying about Joe Gorga, you know, that he's like chauvinistic and that he was talking to Jennifer terribly and you know, called her a drunk bitch and how he speaks to women or how he speaks to his wife, and then his own behavior was getting questions. And Caroline Rizzo was on Instagram talking about women in the Dominican Republic. I mean, all kinds of craziness, right? We've been hearing it a lot about Joe. And so I think it's really funny that they said boys will be boys, right? Because isn't that like something that we've heard mothers and grandmothers say about men who do things they shouldn't do, even though they shouldn't do them, they know they shouldn't do them. We've heard the excuse a long time, like boys will be boys, especially in the SA community and the Me Too movement. We heard it a lot. So that's why I thought it was a little bit of a strange title. Maybe that's just me. You guys tell me your opinion. Let me finish reading the episode info. So it says, when drama at Danielle mozzarella party eases after an unexpected olive branch from Teresa, all is seemingly fine until Louis and Joe go head to head. Teresa's daughters are upset after hearing Melissa and Joe's podcast. We heard a little bit about this in the press. Do you guys remember? My tag is still on this cup, but I loved it so much. You guys remember correctly, this is when Joe went on Melissa's podcast, which he's a regular guest on her podcast. He's basically a co-host. I don't know why they don't just co-host the show. I think they probably do better if they co-hosted the podcast and made it like about relationships, but that's just my opinion. Anyways, he's on the show a lot. Pretty much anytime something problematic happens on the show, Melissa brings him in to basically kind of co-sign what she's saying. He's just, you know, they co-sign each other basically for whatever the other one may or may not be saying about the situation that's been so problematic. And in this specific episode, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, This is when Joe went on Melissa's podcast and said that those girls wouldn't be in that house if it wasn't for them, that Joe didn't have any money when Teresa was in prison, and they helped them, and those girls wouldn't be in that house. They helped put food on the table because they made a special series and filmed with Joe Gorga because Teresa was in prison and they needed a paycheck, and they helped Joe Gorga out because he wouldn't have had anyone to film. I'm just looking this up real quick, sorry. Because I want to use the exact verbiage that he used in reference to this. Because he said, like, the nieces should be happy. They got to stay in their house or something like that. But that was the whole thing, was that Joe Gorga was allegedly broke. Teresa's in prison, and Melissa and Joe come in and help them out drastically in film with him for a show before Teresa comes home, like a pre-show. You know, I'm sure they did need money. Teresa was in freaking prison. How stressful is that too, when she's in prison and can't be doing much with her family, and you know, they're struggling financially. This is the podcast, but I'm not getting the reference that I'm looking for. Regardless, the girls heard it and they were not happy about it. This is it. If we were on the show, their kids, his nieces, had a home to live and food on their table. So he's saying, if it weren't for me and Melissa filming with Joe Gorga, then if it wasn't for us, they would have no food on their table. They wouldn't have been able to keep their house. So that's pretty intense, especially for nieces to hear, only because you're already talking about a very traumatic experience. For everyone else, Joe Judice. Damn it, I think I messed those up earlier. Anyways, Juicy Joe, that's how I'm going to refer to him so no more mistakes. Juicy Joe, when he went to prison, everyone thinks it's over and done with. Like, he got out of prison. Okay, he went over and lived in Italy during the pandemic. And now he's moved to the Bahamas because it's closer. There's at least a little bit of work there. And it makes it easier to see his daughters. So people think it's okay to, like, talk freely on this subject, not realizing that it's still kind of going on. Like, I just saw an interview with Gia. She's like, going to be getting into law and into immigration law, which I think is like so amazing. And I hope that she continues and is able to make a difference. But they're still advocating to see if there's anything that they can do to get visitation for Christmas. Lots of his family can't fly. They can't all fly at the same time and visit him. Ticket prices during the holidays, they skyrocket. So they're just going to see if they can even try to get some sort of visitation with their dad. So I think what happens is that when Joe speaks about this time in their life, which was very traumatic because their mom left and didn't come home for 14 months. Think about that for 1 second. Okay, we can say whatever we want about Teresa and Joe, but think about being a child and not being able to fully comprehend what is going on, even though you've been hearing about it. You can tell there's stress in the house. Your mom's scared. All this stuff is going on, all this chaos. And your mom kisses you goodbye and you don't see her for 14. I mean, they visited her in prison, but like, you know what I'm saying? She didn't come home for 14 months, 15 months, I think it was. 18 maybe. I think it was 18 actually. So that's traumatic, guys. And then when she comes home, you got to kiss daddy goodbye, and he never comes home, okay? Never, ever comes home. Trauma. These girls are doing amazing for, like, what they've been through. Not saying that there aren't people that, you know, suffer all the time, but they had a lot going on. And so I think that when Joe and Melissa speak on specific situations that were traumatic to the girls, they get a much more emotional reaction from them because they're young women. Again, they love their dad, they love their mom, they love their cousins, they love Joe and Melissa, for God's sake. But when you say things that are derogatory about their dad and you say comments like this, this puts a fire under them because you're already talking about a very traumatic time in their life when they didn't have their mom and then they lost their dad. And you're like, if it weren't for me and Melissa, they wouldn't, yada, yada, yada. And so I think that that's what is really a driving force between some of their drama, is that Joe and Melissa, even though, yes, they've had hard times or whatever, like, I mean, prison is traumatic, okay? It doesn't matter if you deserve prison or not. You went and did your time. Prison's fucking traumatic. I'm dead serious. It is. It's traumatic for a lot of people. Come out traumatized from the situation, from the system, from the idea that you really, people, it's wild, okay? It's a whole nother world. It's like a whole nother world, different community for these people. So I think that Joe and Melissa should stay off of that subject. Stop talking about Joe Gorga. Don't talk about Juicy Joe. Joe Gorga, don't talk about Juicy Joe. Juicy Joe, don't talk about Joe Gorga, because the girls are ultimately going to step up and support their father. You have 4 girls, all of them growing up and trying to like learn their way and on different emotional maturity levels, but still old enough to have feelings, about their family and their dad and all of this craziness going on. So, not to mention the change that they had to go through between losing their mom, losing their dad. And not that this isn't a great change for them to be with Louis and all together in one home and sold their mansion. I think it was a great change, really. I think they're very happy. And I think Melania really loves Nicholas and spending time with him. And I hope that it's, I hope it's everything that it looks like it is, because it looks like they're doing really great. Gia looks like she's doing great. Adriana, they all are succeeding. And it's always impressive to me because normally there's one black duck that doesn't do it. So we're not seeing that coming out of Teresa's family thus far, though. So regardless, I think that not having any empathy or understanding for the girls, not considering what they're going through and what changes they've been through in the last 5 to 10 years, a lot of changes. I mean, Teresa was just dating Louis and then coming up on the wedding when they are, getting engaged in the house and stuff when this came out. So I just think that Melissa and Joe would get further if they would leave Juicy Joe out of it, if they would stop going backwards. Like Melissa always wants to say, stop going backwards, honey. They would get further with their nieces. I feel bad because that makes me feel bad that they heard the podcast, and I'm sure it was very hurtful. Hopefully, maybe in time, through this episode, through the reunion, they can mend something and come back together. If not, I don't know if we will see this couple next season. I want to know what you guys think, though. So make sure you comment, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on, and let me know, what do you think about Melissa and Joe Gorga talking on the podcast, talking about how they would, have kept their house and kept food on the table because of Joe and Melissa. And yeah, make sure you comment, let me know what you think, and happy Monday, guys.